Well, guys, I'm sorry. I don't know what to say. What a shame. What an amazing race we've had. I think we always need to see the positive, even if there's not much. But we had the pace today. Yeah, we probably have, or I probably have, some lucky stars from up there because the safety car at the end. Yeah, we've been pretty lucky in an unlucky situation, let's say like this.
But what I saw on TV, I'm really sorry for Charles. Please tell Xavi that he drove an excellent race, very strong, and he should have won it.
What's going on, everyone? We're back for another We're Racing video. Of course, we're talking the Bahrain Grand Prix, and as we can hear from the humble Charles Leclerc, it wasn't to be his day. We had an action-packed race all the way from the front through to the midfield and even to the back, seeing the likes of the Williams boys fighting it out. So it was a real great spectacle of a race. One of my favourites to date in recent times, and I really enjoyed this dynamic of the two teammates in the top teams going against each other. We've seen Charles Leclerc really outpace his teammate all weekend, you know, from Friday through to Sunday. He had a tardy start. He got wheel spin. Sebastian did as well. But Vettel managed to get into the lead. And then Charles Leclerc, it took him about a lap really to get into the rhythm, understand the car, and then he was away with it. And there was no one stopping him. It was him and Lewis, who were in a class of their own when it comes to pace. So yeah, well, for fastest lap, it was Charles Leclerc. He got it in the early part of the race when he was really hammering it around the track. He got 1:33.4. The only other person in the 33s was Lewis Hamilton, who got 33.5. Then in the 34s, we had Bottas and Vettel. And then it was the rest of the crop of the midfield, shall we say. It was the McLarens, the Renaults in the 35s, and also the Red Bulls there, so showing some good pace. Looked like Haas couldn't really convert their pace, which was much promised from qualifying. Very disappointing result for them. We'll get onto them later. But into turn one, pretty tidy start from most of the field. Not too much argy-bargy going into turn one. We saw, Vettel stamp down his authority on his teammate. We thought that might be the race over at that point. It might have been a team order situation. Vettel's in front, the four-time world champ. Hold station, do not attack. Charles Leclerc actually did get a message when he was coming up behind Sebastian. They told him to hold station for 2 laps. They said to hold station for 2 laps. Charles Leclerc took about maybe half a lap, 3/4 of a lap, and then he went for it. He wasn't holding back. He knew he had the pace in the bag, and it really shown. Now, is there reliability concerns or anything like this for this team? Because, you know, having that much pace and then having these failures, or like lack of performance, maybe, you know, conserving the engine a lot more, is really concerning for me. Time will tell, of course. We're seeing China down that long straight. That Ferrari engine is going to really propel them down there. Here we can see the Mercs going side by side in the early parts of the race. Great to see Lewis as well. It'll be a big boost for his confidence to get one over his teammate again and get a nice overtake on him there. Charles Leclerc was the man of the moment, though. There was no one stopping him, and Lewis acknowledged that, which we'll get onto a bit later. He was in a class of his own. He was dominating this race, you know, from Friday to Sunday. It's amazing to see, and here we go.
There's something strange with the engine.
Okay, copy that. We are checking it.
There's something strange with the engine. Fuck!
So initially it looked like an MGUH issue, and it wasn't harvesting or something like that was the rumors, but actually it was a cylinder which was misfiring, wasn't producing any energy.
But I can't. Oh my god! I will try.
So at this point, the team are telling him like to change engine settings like every single corner, like mad. They're trying to ask him to fuel save because he's slower in the straight. He spent more time on the straight, and he just drained more and more fuel from the car. So he was really struggling. The safety car was the saving grace for Charles Leclerc, because he could have finished 4th or even lower if they would have been going at full tilt to the end of the race. So, you know, it could have been worse when Lady Luck shines on him. You can see how close in the background there Max Verstappen was to him on track at that point. And we can see Valtteri Bottas securing the 1-2. Great result. Big surprise for Mercedes. Big surprise for anyone who put money on this race, I must say. And the story to take from this weekend has to be how rapid Charles Leclerc is, outshining Vettel, showing massive confidence. You know, in qualifying, we saw him. He went out, put that first lap in Q3, and that absolutely demolished everyone else's lap time. And then he went and bettered it again. So credit where credit's due. Charles Leclerc, he's a champion in waiting. I think this guy is going to be the #1 driver at Ferrari. Let me know your thoughts on that. Are they going to start to throw the weight behind him if they can see the points and the performances coming back? We've seen with Sebastian Vettel a few issues over the past year, maybe even 2 seasons, you could say. What's your thought on that? You can see Charles Leclerc, he got the fastest lap, and he also got P3 as well. So he had some nice souvenirs from this race. Yeah, so Vettel, he's not been really up to speed. We've seen it last year. His errors really cost him that 5th title. We saw a bit in 2017 as well at the likes of Singapore. Some mistakes creeping in for him, and it really affects his confidence. We could see it in this race, going toe-to-toe with Lewis Hamilton. He spun again, and it's becoming a common trend with Sebastian Vettel. These spins, these mistakes, where the likes of Lewis Hamilton, you know, they don't really put themselves in them positions, and you can see, oh shit, I did it again. Is the motto there. Sorry for any Vettel fans, but it is becoming a regular occurrence. Due to that, he flat spotted the tires coming down the straight. There was massive vibrations, which caused the front wing to like just jump up and down and just vibrate. And to the point of that, it detached itself from the nose, went underneath his car. And yeah, George Russell was very lucky to get out of the way of that situation and avoid that debris, because that.
Okay, sorry guys, it was my mistake. I got surprised and lost the rear, and then I couldn't catch it anymore.
Yeah, very disappointing for Vettel. You can see here, sorry, that he sounds very downbeat after that error again. He knows, you know, the team will be watching him now. How much time has he got? You can see here how well Ferrari qualified 1 and 2. Didn't translate, did it? How long will they stick with Sebastian as the #1? Will we see Sebastian Vettel in a Ferrari in 2 years to come 2021? I think the likes of Mick Schumacher and that, they're lining up some potential for the future. Charles Leclerc really bringing the points home for the team there with P3, with a wounded car as well, you must say. So an admirable performance from the youngster. Here we can see the constructor standings. We've got Mercedes. They're clearing away with 87 points. Ferrari on 48 points. Red Bull 31. Alfa Romeo 10. And McLaren on 8. The real noticeable absentees there are Haas, I would say, and Renault. We expect them to be doing better. Lewis was very complimentary of what he's witnessed this weekend, and he's witnessed greatness. He knows when he's up against someone special, and he's just acknowledged that, which we'll hear in some comments. Great respect between the drivers.
That was extremely unfortunate for Charles. He drove such a great race. We've got work to do to try and keep these guys in our tails, but we'll definitely take it how it comes. I appreciate all the hard work, guys. Great work today, this weekend. Thank you.
So Lewis says, we were very lucky to get this one too. Ferrari outperformed us all weekend. We'll take the points we got today and we'll move on to China. He's been there when he's had his fair share of bad luck when it comes to reliability, and that's what this is all about, reliability. You know, the teams, it looks like Ferrari have got the performance and Mercedes have got the reliability, which is, you know, you can go one of two ways. Merc have a solid foundation. They can really turn the wick up as they want to, bring it home. And Ferrari, they've got some concerns. So running for the order, Roman Grosjean again had another DNF. It's looking like the early phase of last season where he's had this unreliable races. He's always coming into some collisions or involved in something. Carlos Sainz again, disappointed to retire. He was going really well, had really good pace in the McLaren. Really surprised by them, looking really good. However, yeah, contact, damage to the car, had to retire the car. Nico Hülkenberg and Danny Rick, both double DNF. Look, it's like the same issue or something very similar for that instance. We had the Williams boys, George Russell and Kubica. Russell finished a lap ahead of his teammate. The worst of the midfield battle was Lance Stroll. He finished down in 14th position. Then it was Kevin Magnussen, a very disappointing 13th after a great qualifying. Danny Kvyat as well would be disappointed with B12. Good result for Giovinazzi up in 11th. Sergio Perez managed to get a point, thankfully, due to the Renault boys with that double DNF. That would have been a gift wrapped for him at the end of the race. Alexander Albon, what an impressive performance for him. Got P9, again managed to get some points due to unfavourable circumstances. But Great performance, good racing, wheel-to-wheel racing from Albon as well. Been really impressed with this kid coming on, very humble. Then we've got Pierre Gasly in P8. Again, a bit fortunate with the ongoings throughout this race. Looks quite off Max Verstappen's pace. Max Verstappen really seems to be dragging the car around the circuit, whereas Gasly's trying to adapt to the car. He said he's been unsettled in the car, etc. Then we had Kimi Raikkonen, a solid P7 for the number 7 driver. Really good result for Kimi. Lando Norris, one of the standout drivers of the day. Really ballsy overtakes. We're going to have a look at overtake of his a bit later in the race. It was my favorite overtake of the race. And this guy, he does remind you a bit of Lewis Hamilton, you have to say, when you look at his racecraft. Then we had the disappointed Sebastian Vettel after his spin. The number 5 finishing in 5th as well. And he was 36 seconds off the lead. Then we had Max Verstappen, who was finishing in 4th. Charles Leclerc 3rd, as we know, Bottas 2nd, and Lewis 3rd. So Valtteri's comments after the race: Ferrari were very strong again in the race, but luck was on our side today, which was a welcome change for me personally after all the bad luck I had and experienced last year. So yeah, really good result for the Merc boys. They're both pleasantly surprised. I think they could have expected to be 3rd and 4th in this race, but they've come away with a 1-2, which is a remarkable achievement considering what kind of pace Ferrari, have been laying down all weekend. They've been pretty much unbeatable, but in the race it was all about reliability. To finish first you have to finish, is the old saying, and that came true today, unfortunately, for Charles Leclerc. So yeah, Toto was over the moon. Didn't celebrate too much. They was quite humble, the team, the drivers. They really recognised Charles Leclerc and Ferrari's pace throughout the weekend, and they know there's a lot of more work to do. How do we think they'll perform in China? It probably will suit the Ferrari because the Merc have been saying that in a straight line, they're killing us. They're literally so fast in a straight line. I don't know what it is they're doing differently to their engine, etc. I think these cars are fundamentally quite similar, but it's just how they work with them. So let me know your thoughts and opinions on that. What we're going to see in China. Here we can see Lewis coming home to grab another win. This man is really stacking them up now. The other late drama in the race was a double disaster for Renault, double DNF. Real shame. They was looking good in the race. Here from Danny Rick. A lot happened in the race today. Initially looked competitive, and therefore we committed to a 1-stop. As they got deeper into that first stint, they realised that the tyres were struggling. In hindsight, 2 stops would have been better, as there was a lot of other people coming through that they couldn't do too much about. Apparently, at the end, he had an MG UK problem. It was very up and down weekend. A lot happened, but there was a lot to take from it and absorb everything and come back stronger. Danny Rick really wants this test day as well, just to understand the car. And what was the cause of this problem? So Cyril's comments after the race: after an intense winter, it's been a very bad start to our racing season. Our race today come to a sudden stop so close to the finish. These problems are increasingly frustrating and unacceptable. Both cars have shown good 1-lap and race pace. And we could see Nico, he come from 17th. He was in 6th place when he retired. Daniel Ricciardo, again, he's building on the experience of this Renault car. Different balance, of course, to the Red Bull. And he's had good race pace, but his strategy didn't work out on that 1-stop. So Daniel will continue his familiarization in testing this week at Bahrain. He got around 45 laps, I think it was today. What was the cause of the sudden stop in the Renault? We would all love to believe that it was Christian Horner who made the phone call to stop them out on track and pull some sort of strings in that manner. It must be very hard start to life in the Renault team for Daniel Ricciardo, from going to being competing for a podium at most Grand Prix to now really struggling even to finish a race and to feel confident in the car. It's going to take them some time to get to where they need to. So quite a frustrating start to the season for Red Bull. They're not where they necessarily want to be. They had a good podium, of course, with Max in the previous round, but I think he's going to have some concerns in terms of race pace. So Max said, I think we maximised the result today, and to finish 4th was not so bad. He said that if he had passed Charles Leclerc, he would have felt like he hadn't deserved it because he knew Charles Leclerc had driven so well over the course of the weekend. Pierre Gasly said it was quite a difficult race, and I'm still not completely comfortable in the car. You could see that he was really struggling up against the likes of a McLaren or a Haas, for instance. He didn't have the confidence within it. Haas themselves, very disappointing. Romain Grosjean, DNF, and K-Mag in P13. They started 6th and 8th on the grid, remember. So that is a terrible turn from like qualifying to the race. So they really got to get knuckled down. They've had a poor start to the season. It's pretty much deja vu from 2018. Hopefully they can improve, but I think they need to make some driver changes if they are to do. So I was pleasantly surprised to see McLaren up there competing with the likes of the Red Bull at the front of the midfield battle. We knew they had good one-lap pace at low fuel, for instance, but we didn't think they had good race pace. But this race has proved me wrong, and they look like they can compete at the front end with the likes of Haas, Renault, and the Alpha, for instance. They're even touching the Red Bulls. They was giving Red Bull a run for their money. We saw that contact between Carlos Sainz and Max Verstappen. And let's look at the incredible, I must say, Lando Norris, and just check out this overtake. I tell you, have a look at that highlight reel of Norris. It's extensive. He had plenty of overtakes. The other news from McLaren is Fernando Alonso is back, only testing. He's testing the car for one day in Bahrain in the wet desert. Believe it or not, we had rain in Bahrain. Yes, pardon the pun. So here we can see the driver lineup for the test. We can see George Russell's actually getting to drive the Mercedes, which will be a great comparison. Of course, we're seeing Mick Schumacher driving a Ferrari like his father. It does bring a few goosebumps to see him in the car. Can he emulate his father? Can he get anywhere near it? It's a tall order. I mean, one of the, if not the greatest of all time, Michael Schumacher. But he got his chance in tricky conditions as well, so we can't read anything in terms of pace, what happened in the test today, for instance. But he got some solid running. He was only beaten by Max Verstappen for the fastest lap. So he was second overall in the standings in the Ferrari, got some solid laps under his belt, and I think he must have impressed the team because he brought it back in one piece, which is important. Remember, this guy made his Bahrain debut. Again, in the Bahrain debut, he didn't really take too many risks. He ran his own race, brought it home, and was pretty consistent, and that's what he needs to do in his early part of this career and really forge some trust with the parent team of Ferrari. So another hot prospect, Dan Ticktum, he gets his chance in the Red Bull tomorrow, which will be Wednesday. And we also get to see Jack Aiken take place in the Renault. So we're seeing some exciting young drivers coming through, performing in these tests, which they're obliged to do. We also got Fittipaldi back in the Haas, I believe. And Latifi is looking to get some mileage in as well. So watch out for that. What we're going to see from testing, we're going to see any new components, concepts. I think the teams are really struggling to understand the tyres, how to get them into the right operating window and to get them turned on as quick as well. So what's your thoughts and opinions of the Grand Prix, guys? What do you make of the testing? What do you make of seeing Mick Schumacher in the Ferrari? Will we see him in that seat in 2021, which I've got a strong feeling could happen? Can you imagine from the marketing perspective, it'd be incredible for Ferrari. As long as the kid's got pace, he's got a great chance of getting that red hat and overalls, I must say. So thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. We'll be back again for another F1 We're Racing video very shortly, and I'll see you all soon.